Hello, I'm Angela Johnson and I'm an ambassador for docrafts, and today I'm going to be working with an amazing range of papers called the Freshly Cut Flowers, and it's such a pretty range that I thought it would be a good idea to make a box frame for a wedding gift. Here is the box frame. Now it's quite plain, it's going to need a lot of attention to make this interesting, and this is where the Freshly Cut Flowers are going to do a great job for me. So, taking the first sheet of paper, I'm going to show you, it's so pretty. The detail on this is just like a country meadow. I always feel like I could be smelling those lovely freshly cut flowers. So I'm going to use this as the background of my sheet. I'm going to stick this onto the back board of the picture frame, and I'm just going to use a tape runner just to add enough glue to hold that in place at the back of the frame. The frame has a wooden back, so this will be quite flat and should produce a nice bright background. Now there's some other sheets in the range that have very nice patterns on them, and this particular shape had these beautiful floral wreaths on them, and I thought that, well, the floral wreath sounds lovely for a wedding. So what I've done is I've actually cut out one of those wreaths and I've put some foam pads on the back, and the foam pads will raise it up off that background sheet, which will make it look more dimensional. I'm going to take the backing off the foam pads and I'm going to position it just slightly higher than the centre. So I've left a bit more of a border down the bottom. Now I've used one of my X-cut dies and I've cut out a heart in a corresponding colour that's also comes in that Freshly Cut Flowers collection. And I love the way they've mixed the peachy colour with the greens and the yellows and the blues in this collection. So it really works very, to produce a very pretty collection, in my opinion. Now, we have a die in the X-cut range, and it's called the Folk Art die. And the next part was the inspiration of the whole idea for me, because I think this, as a die, is going to produce a really lovely finish to a wedding gift. So I'm going to use one of the papers, and one of the papers to cut this out isn't quite white. What's lovely about it is they've got a little bit of green in there, they've got the floral element, whereas if I just did this out of white, it might be a bit plain. So I'm going to use my die cutting machine and I'm going to cut out this die to use as my centerpiece. So I'm coming over to my die cutting machine, place it onto my machine, put the top on. I've already adjusted the setting of the rollers and I turn the handle. And you can just pass it through. Now this is quite a detailed die, so I'm going to pass it through and then I'm going to bring it back to me through the machine. And I love die cutting machines because no way could I cut this out by hand. I'm going to give it a little bit of a tap to release it, and then just release it from the die. Now what you'll see here is, wow, the most beautiful. If I hold it against the peach, you can see there's a really beautiful lace die. Now, I thought this is looking a bit flat now, so I wanted to get more dimension because this is a box frame. So then I decided to take a piece of acetate. So I'm going to lay my piece of acetate on top of my box frame to get my positioning right. And I'm now going to stick my lovely heart onto there. Now the best way I find of sticking a die to a project is using some of the sticky dots that we have from Stick It. And Stick It has sticky dots on a roller, so actually when you use these on the back of the die, they only leave the sticky bit on the die and there's no glue will be showing on my acetate whatsoever. So I think I've got enough on there. Just move my piece of paper to the side. And I'm now going to position that die back onto the right place. That is perfect. Now this die is so pretty, I thought, well, I want to add some action down here. So I also cut the die out again out of that same corresponding peach paper, but I layered and cut out certain sections, so you can see where I've cut it out from that centre bead. So you can actually cut into the die. You don't have to use the whole die as it is. And I've just backed it with the same white background so that this will now pop out. I've added a little bit of glue foam pads to the back of this, and this will then raise it up just enough to give a bit of interest. So I'm going to place that down there, and I'm going to place this one on the other side. I've got the glue off that one and place that on that side. Now we have something else that's really good in this range, and this is the alphabet stickers. And these are board stickers, but they are self-adhesive. So I thought they would be great to use to write Mr. and Mrs. So I've got M for the Mr. I've taken the others out just so it doesn't take me too long to find them for you. Here's the R. Now they are quite sticky, which is why I'm using my tweezers. And I also don't want to get glue on the acetate. So that's there. Then I'm going to take the heart, and I've die cut out a little heart just to separate the Mr. and the Mrs. And now I'm going to put the M for the Mrs. in there with the R. These letters really do make it easy. I just actually just move that bit to the side so I can get my S to go on top. Perfect. Now I'm happy with that. So I've got Mr. and Mrs. I've got my frame beautifully done, but now I want to put this all together with my box frame. So I'm going to lift this up, and I'm going to remove the sticky tape that I've got around the side of the acetate. So this would just enable me now to stick this for sticking it in place. So we're going to now stick this to the top of our frame. So I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to have it facing the glass, drop it in place. I'm going to add my backing sheet, which has some depth because this is a box frame. I'm going to just push down the edges of the box frame, and then you'll be ready to almost see. Wow. One last thing to put on here, and is a bow. And I thought it would be really nice to have a bow at the top. We'll put the bow up there to finish off our project. And I think as a wedding gift, Freshly Cut Flowers have done a great job. And docrafts and Papermania are the group that have made me create this amazing project. So I hope you'll watch another video from us here at docrafts. Thank you.